This is Sonic, and you're watching JD Frank 20.
Alright, what is up? And I just got some fun, exciting Sonic Frontiers information right here. First of all, shoutouts to 1337/comms, hashtag at laser potatoes, for this amazing artwork. By the way, it's so fucking kick-ass. I absolutely love it. And obviously, his tweet basically says, the work with the Titans to defeat the end, aka a moon. Only it's the version of undefeatable Sonic Frontiers. What you're looking at right here is basically a artwork right here, which he confirmed it took him 4 hours to make and render. Basically, this version right here. It's basically one of the three Titans. It's obviously Giganto. And what you see right here is a red sphere, obviously, and Amy is controlling him, obviously. Now, this obviously is a brilliant idea. I hope that Morio Kishimoto gets a glimpse of this, because this is a brilliant idea right here. I honestly thought that the final boss should have been all three of our heroes controlling one respective Titan each. Even if the Titans were destroyed by Supersonic earlier in the fight, it wouldn't have mattered because in a later cutscene, they retreated back to cyberspace after getting all that cyber corruption off of Sonic at Rhea Island and giving him a fighting chance before you get to the final island and get the Chaos Emeralds, and then of course fight Supreme and then get to the real final boss. I honestly think this would have been a brilliant idea. The first thing I thought of was this was basically shades of Sonic Heroes, where Supersonic, Knuckles, and Tails take on Metal Overlord. The only thing that was a bummer was that Tails and Knuckles didn't get super forms. They just got super shields, but all their attacks were at max level and they had some invincibility. I think that was lame. I honestly think they should have got their super forms, even though they're established in Sonic 3. But hey, it's all in the past. This form right here looks way badass, and it's believable that Amy could control this Titan. It makes perfect sense, because as early as the first encounter, well, not the first encounter, as early as when you meet up with them, you know that they have knowledge towards cyberspace, all three of them. They know what they have to do, this and that. They have knowledge, and of course they know how to communicate with the Coco because via translation and all that, things that Sonic can't do because they have knowledge of cyberspace, because half of their body is in cyberspace while the other is in limbo, basically in a digitized state. So this is something that's 100% believable, that all three of our heroes can control a Titan each. And not only that, but in the original cutscenes, when you get to Rhea Island, the original agents actually did fight the end, all using a corresponding Titan. And of course, one of the three, along with the Elder Chow, who controlled Supreme, by the way, was a female. She controlled Giganto. So it makes perfect sense that Amy would control that Titan also. It's also the one that was in Kronos Island also, which is her base. So it makes perfect sense. Like, I like this idea so much, and you're probably going to say, oh, it's probably going to be a cheap ripoff of Breath of the Wild because of the Divine Beasts. Not exactly. In Zelda Breath of the Wild or in Age of Calamity, you didn't even get to use the Divine Beasts in the final fight. Yes, in Breath of the Wild, the Divine Beast did weaken Calamity Ganon by taking half its health if you did the corresponding missions, unless you're playing Master Mode, and that doesn't do, then in that case nothing happens, it's just a fun animation. The point is, you don't get to use those Titans during the fight. So here, you could probably use them during the fight. You could rotate in between and fight, to help you fight or fight off the end or whatever, using all four Titans. I'm assuming Sage will control Supreme, Amy would get Giganto, Tails would get Knight, and of course Knuckles will get Wyvern, which makes perfect sense. This is just so cool, and that's really cool that it took them nearly 4 hours to make this awesome render, this awesome artwork. That is just amazing. And everybody obviously is giving him props for all that. This is just truly awesome right here. And I hope that Morio Kishimoto gets whimps of this, because this is something I like right here. I know last week I reported that there's a possibility they might change the final boss with Wave 3 of DLC. In fact, it makes perfect sense, because remember, Amy, Knuckles, and Tails all have their own corresponding missions during that DLC pack. Maybe it might lead to something like this. Amy takes her own path, Knuckles takes his own path, and Tails takes his own path. They all want to prove themselves and make themselves better at the end without having Sonic there in a way, holding their hand in a way. This is actually brilliant right here. And it could also explain, like, maybe all three of them can control a Titan. That could be the final mission right there. And then you get to the true final boss fight. Because remember, all three of them are in cyberspace after they gave Sonic one last fighting chance to go to the final island, get the Chaos Emeralds, and fight Supreme. Then after that, it was just basically Sage and Sonic fighting the end, and that's it. That kind of felt a little bit... It felt climactic, but it just felt like something was missing. Like the end fight, it felt like it needed a second gear, and that's where you should have had your heroes basically come in. Like, you know how every boss fight, you have the first half, and then you have the second half to make it more climactic, more triumphant. That would have been the perfect time to have the other three Titans show up and fight alongside you, all being controlled by your friends. And this render right here is absolutely a perfect example of that. All of them controlling them while in this orb. Similar to Sonic Heroes, how they had those super shields. That would have been fucking awesome if they would have did that. But again, because of time constraints and everything, I'm assuming Sega just decided just to make the end fight what it is, and they just want to fix it at a later date. That's understandable, you know. But that means, is the ending going to change, or is the ending going to be the same either way? Because the fight itself just kind of felt underwhelming. It would have been awesome if the end fight would have been similar to having all the Titans just fight the end at the same time. It makes perfect sense when you read between the lines. That's just me speculating. I mean, I love this idea right here. It's so badass, and having all of Sonic's friends control a Titan, that is so cool. It really is. Like I said, I mean, Zelda Breath of the Wild may have, yeah, you control the Divine Beast, but for what? Just one final shot? It's a possibility that maybe they might go that route, giving you a fighting chance, and then of course Supersonic goes for the kill shot, and then once again maybe Sage goes for that sacrificial shot, and then she's still gonna be gone either way. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot that Sega could do right here. You could change the story if you wish. You know, you could have an alternative ending or a secret ending with the DLC third pack. That is a possibility. You could always have an alternative ending for that. Remember that. You don't have to stick with the ending regular game and just feel cheated out of it. You could always change the ending via DLC pack for good reason if it calls for it. And under these circumstances, it calls for it. Let me know what y'all think, everybody. I gotta go. Peace out.